All right. So we have so let's welcome today's speaker today. We have Prince Ozioma Emmanuel, who will be our speaker for today. And then Ozioma is a PhD candidate in chemistry and biochemistry at Texas Tech University. And then his research focuses on cancer biology with a focus on protein-protein interactions. So he is currently also a board member of EduAfrica, uh, Education Africa Scholars Global Connect, and he's also in the university serving as graduate senator in the Student Government Association. So he also holds, he also volunteers with the University Student Government Association, and he has been contributing actively to the student leadership and scientific engagement. He also holds a master's degree in environmental toxicology and a BSc in biochemistry, and has published research in pesticide residues, environmental risk assessment, and essential oil analysis. His professional background includes lecturing at the Federal University, Bukari, Nigeria, and also he's also a humanitarian service through challenging AIDS and malaria in Africa. So let us welcome our guest speaker today. If you are listening, if you can hear me, just do something like clap your hands and do some emoji to show that you can hear what I'm saying. All right, yeah. So Emmanuel, you have the floor now.
All right, guys. Thank you all for being here, and also thank you, Stanley, for the introduction. Um, I don't know if you can still see my screen. I think
Yeah,
I took
yeah,
it.
I can
Okay,
see it.
okay. So before I start, I would like to just get to know some of us in this group, in this call, and also to know why you are here and what you tend to get out of this today's meeting. So just in the chat box, just type in like this is what I expect to get out of this meeting today, and so that at the end of the day we can evaluate ourselves to know what we've gotten out of the meeting, and then to know how to also make it more better. So I'll be looking at the chat box to see your messages. So let me just see, just put in something straight. Okay, yeah, I hope to get these things through. I hope to understand this part of whatever it is. So just put that out there so that I will know that you guys are all following me, because it's gonna be like a conversational meeting, not just me just presenting to you, but we'll be conversing alongside, so that we'll get to know what your feelings and what your thoughts are about some of the already existing knowledge you might have known before now. So I'm still waiting on the comment section. Yeah, okay. Chidima said to hope to learn to secure scholarship for my master's program abroad. Okay, I'm still on here looking out for the messages. So please be fast with that so that we can move on straight up without wasting much time. The reason why I'm doing this so that I can be sure that we are all following and not just people turn on their camera or maybe turn on their meeting and just go keep doing something else, so that we know if we're to continue or to call it a day from here and probably focus on Chidema alone and just have a one-on-one meeting with her. So I'm waiting for others to put it in the chat box to tell us what they want to get out of this meeting today. Okay, I've heard from Raphael from Ghana. Thank you. I hope by the end of the meeting to get funding for my education abroad. Yeah, we did talk about all of those things today, and I'm sure you'll get something out of it that will help you make progress on that aspect. All right, I'm still waiting on others. So sorry, my voice. I lost my voice over the weekend. I don't know what happened. I caught cold. So I've been
Yeah,
dealing with cough and I've been dealing
you
with cough and catarrh.
you're under the weather.
Yeah. So please, guys, I'm still waiting for you guys to put in on the chat box what you hope to get out of this meeting today. If you don't do it, I'll just end the call and tell Stanley to connect me with just these two persons that have said this, so that I will know that they are the ones serious, because I don't want to waste my time. I'm doing something that you don't find interesting. Okay, yeah, I could see the messages coming in. So Please keep those coming because at the end of the day, I want you to evaluate what you have written here to know if you got an information that will put you through that. So because I believe in results and not just coming to give you presentations. So all right. Mm,
The person says up to insights and tactics in gaining fully funded PhD scholarship to study abroad.
yeah.
That person says, I have always dreamt of going to Australia to further my education. Olulade Elizabeth says, I'm here to learn about necessary things about graduate school. Favor Daniel says, to be enlightening about scholarship application.
Okay. So Stanley, can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So today we're talking about funding your education, winning scholarships, and financial support. So just by way of little recap, I'm on a full scholarship in the US, which I got in 2023 after doing my master's in Nigeria. And before then, I had applied to different scholarships, which Stanley is aware of, to different countries. And I had applied to Sweden, I had applied to Australia, I had applied to UK, a lot of Canada as well. So, but luckily for me, the US pulled through and we're here today. So these are the learning objectives we'll be covering today. Identify fully funded scholarship opportunities worldwide, distinguish between scholarships, fellowships, bursary, and assistantships, develop competitive scholarship applications, then search effectively for research assistant and teaching assistant opportunities, then prepare for scholarship specific essays, and then build a long-term funding strategy. So we'll be going over all these one after the other. So one of the first things we'll be looking at is how to identify fully funded scholarship. Now, the question will be, what do you call a fully funded scholarship? Now, there are different categories of it. And then what you have on my left side is what a fully funded scholarship most times takes care of. Most times it takes care of your tuition and mandatory university fees, while some of them comes with living stipend or monthly maintenance allowance. Some comes with health insurance. Some comes with travel, especially for international award, and some comes with just book research and academic expenses. While some visa fee, relocation allowances, conference travel, or dependent support. But one thing you have to understand is that most times that you have a fully funded scholarship does not, that if you don't have all these things embedded in your scholarship, it doesn't mean it's not a fully funded scholarship. So there are different kinds of funding, right? So we have scholarships, we have bursaries, we have different kinds of funding. So what your funding or scholarship will accommodate is a function of the kind of funding you get. Now, most times people will ask, how do I even identify if it's fully funded? Now, all these things I listed out here are the things you want to check out for, right? So you don't just want to, most times you see some schools in the UK, they say, hey, we're giving you, when they give you admission, they say, we're giving you a scholarship. And if you look at it, they'll just tell you, we're giving you 3,000 tuition support or tuition waiver. That's not a scholarship. Because at the end of the day, you take care of your health insurance, you take care of your monthly expenses, you take care of your visa, you take care of everything. If I even take care of part of your tuition fees and monetary university fees. So at that point, you're not getting a funded scholarship. You're just getting a waiver. And a waiver does not take care of some of those other things. And I must tell you the truth, having been in the US for 3 years plus now, I can tell you that coming into a foreign country without a full scholarship, or if you don't have someone who is into who is like Dangote or maybe who is like Elon Musk to fund your program, you might end up suffering a little bit. So I see people come over here just with partial funding and they rough it, but I can tell you it's not the best decision to make because I don't see the reason why you should come to do a PhD program, a master's program, and then you end up paying out of pocket when you're doing the program. So try to make sure that you have all these things, at least a, there's a component of these things in your scholarship before you call it funded scholarship, because if you have tuition waiver and mandatory fees taken care of and you don't have living expenses, then it's definitely going to be difficult to survive in that country, because most times living expenses can be very expensive. And remember, as a student in most schools, especially in the US, you cannot do full-time work. And even if you must do a work, it must be part-time in the school where you do 20 hours. And these 20 hours most times cannot take care of your living expenses in its totality. So you want to ensure that you have some of these things embedded. The now question will not be, how do I know, how do I get to search for these things? Now, if you see on the right part of my slide where I wrote university website, so now these are the kind of keywords you want to search through in each university website if you're looking for a fully funded scholarship, right? So now, because I feel like this program is, sorry, I feel like this program is um, more of practical than just saying or maybe trying to talk to you guys. So I will go back to my screen to see if I'll be able to, um, sorry, I'm trying to go back to my website to show you how we can search for these things directly without having to, because most times people just hope on to see, people just wait to see, um, what's it called, a LinkedIn post or maybe a post on Facebook to show them where they will see scholarship, but that doesn't work most of the times, especially in the US. And then for someone that said he was thinking of how to get through Australia, so you have to understand how Australian process works. Um, sorry, can you all still see my screen? Hello, are you guys still there?
Yes, we can see you, but not your shared screen.
Okay, yeah, okay. I need you guys to see my share screen because I wanted to check through something. I don't know if you're still seeing. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I'll just going to I'll take Texas Tech for instance. Um, uh, so I'll go to Texas Tech University. Now I'm looking for, I don't know anything at all about Texas Tech University. Like I know nothing about this school. So, and I come to their website. I'll just come here, I'll search for maybe assistantship. Now, you see, I'm seeing different things now, but then what do I want to see? I want to look for graduate assistantship because that's where I am more interested in, like just things that have to be graduate school, right? So now this is, I click on graduate assistantship. So you're not coming to you, they have research assistantship, they have teaching assistantship. Then from here, who gets a position? So like these are more like the keywords you want to search for when looking out for when looking out for funded program in a particular school. Now, some schools might not call it assistantship, they might call it maybe waiver. They might call it tuition reimbursement. They might call it health insurance. They might call it fellowship. So you have to understand that the keywords you are searching for in a particular school is very important. So now, and this is specific to respective schools. For those who are interested in US scholarship, then you want to understand, you want to go through how can I get a fully funded scholarship in the US? Now, one of the best we have to understand is how does the school system operate in that country? Now, for Australia, you must have a research proposal you must have already developed before you can get a scholarship most times. And most times, the Australia recruits through specific professors accepting you in their labs first before you can get through the admission process. So, but for the US, most schools or most program does not require you to get a professor before you get admission. So you have to understand what are the peculiar things related to my program, related to my discipline before I can get a scholarship. So, and what I wrote here, I wrote tuition waiver, graduate research assistantship, stipend, and health insurance. This is more peculiar to US schools. Most times, US funding always come with tuition waiver, graduate research assistantship, and then you get stipend and then health insurance. Okay, so what is tuition waiver? Full tuition is more like the school taking care of all your fees, like all that has to do with your fees and mandatory student fees. Then living stipend or monthly, I'm more like, okay, you are teaching, and then they are giving you, say, maybe 1,500 every month after teaching a class or after doing your research. And then health insurance is like the money you pay to be able to have access to health, what's it called, facilities within the school or outside the school. And then some scholarships, like I know someone a mentee from Edu Africa last year or last 2 years, in name of Buchi, got a scholarship to Egypt. I mentored him on that process. And in that process, now they even support your airfare because they book your flight for you. So now this is his own takes care of everything, right? But then for some of us in the US, most times we don't get travel fare covered. But then you get health insurance, you get living stipend, you get full tuition, you get books and everything covered, and then your research as well, all covered, and then conference attendance all covered. So these are the things you want to look out for before going into your program to know what is expected of you. Then I want to ask us a question. What are the type of fundings that we know about? I want to hear from us. What are the type of fundings that you know about? So please put it in the chat box. I'll be looking at to see some of those. Stanley, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, please help me read out what people will put in the chat box because I'm not looking at in the chat box now because if I go out here, it will tell me to stop sharing screen. So please, what types of funding do you know about before we go into the type of funding that we'll have?
Okay. So, so Olujumoke, Olujumoke say partial funding.
Okay.
Then Fevonwachuku said fully funded scholarship.
Okay.
Let's see what else say full funding and partial funding.
Okay. So I feel like what
Some
most of us
say
knows. Okay.
grant funds.
Okay.
Fully
Okay.
funded, fully funded, full funding and partial funding, full funding, partial funding, full
Okay.
funded, even
Okay.
though I don't know what fully funded really means. Okay, this person said
Okay.
even this person talked said fully funded, but she doesn't even know what fully funded means.
Okay. So
Yes.
we'll get to all those ones. Thank you, Stanley. Okay. Now, before I go into that, let me just address what fully funded means. What fully funded means is that you get all your tuition. You're not paying anything in your tuition, and then you also get paid for doing a particular kind of research or job in the school. That's known for scholarships. So we'll address all those now when we get to the types of funding. Now, if you look at my screen, I put something out here. We'll have the types of funding we have. We'll have scholarships, we have fellowships, we have bursaries, and we have assistantships. So now in scholarship, you are judged based on your achievements and eligibility. And for scholarship, you are just being awarded money to study, right? So now in scholarship, you are not expected to do anything. Rather, they will just give you money. Okay, yeah, you're giving money for this scholarship, and then it's always available for both graduates and undergrads. So, and scholarships could either be fully funded or partial funded. What we mean by fully funded is that in fully funded, you are not paying anything for your studies. You are just there to study all alone, just full studies. You're not doing anything. You are not working. You are not told to do any work. You're not told to teach anything. But then you are just work. You are just only studying, and then you are paid for what study. I don't know if you get what I mean. So now in scholarships, most times you might not get payment in scholarships, but then the scholarship will take care of your what's it called? Will take care of your tuition, your health insurance, like to take care of everything you need to pay to be able to study. That's what the scholarship gets to do for you. That's what scholarship does for you. And it's judged based on your achievements and based on eligibility. Now, achievement could be like things you've done in the past. Maybe it could be based on your educational qualifications, right? So that's what scholarship does for us. And scholarship could either be fully funded or partial funded. So someone can say, okay, I want to give you a scholarship for your primary education. So the person says, okay, I'm going to give you half partial scholarship. The person means partial means he's paying part of your school fees, or he's paying all your school fees, or he's not buying textbooks for you. He's not buying any material for you. That means that's a partial scholarship. But a full scholarship will take care of your school fees, take care of your materials and everything. That means you don't need to do anything. All you need to just wake up in the morning, go to school, study. Now we have what we call fellowships. Now, this is for advanced study, for research, professional, and development. Fellowships are more towards graduate students and postdocs. Now, graduate students are those coming to do masters or PhD. Now, but for fellowship, you don't pay back. For scholarship, you don't pay back. Right? So, but fellowship are mostly towards research, shows research-based and professional development focus. So I could say I'm giving you a fellowship to carry out, like to support your research. Now that fellowship money is always categorized. Okay, this money is for, let's say, for laboratory scientific supplies. This one is for maybe your part payment. So you have been selected and funded to pursue an advanced study or a research. So like, but in scholarships, there might not be specific criteria in the sense that I can give scholarship to everyone who is in secondary school. But in fellowship, I can say, okay, this fellowship fund is for those who are doing cancer research or who are doing research in maybe humanitarian services or who is doing what's it called, non-profit research. So the person can get a fellowship on that aspect. So, but then for bursaries, I know most of us, when we're in universities, we can see that, okay, they say, oh, that your local government chairman is giving bursaries to their students. It's only given based on financial need. It's not given based on eligibility or achievement, right? Most times bursaries are disbursed based on financial need. So, okay, these people needs, they have needs to help them stand up through their academics. So let's say a particular organization, a particular group is giving a set of persons, say, okay, people from the East are getting bursary, people from the South are getting bursary from their region or from their representative, right? So most times it's just a financial assistance that is given to you to afford your education. But then what most of us see as scholarship most times is assistantship. Like for those now say, hey, I want to go to United States to study, you're not getting scholarship, you're getting assistantships most times. Because if you come to the US for a fully funded program, most times you get to do either research or you do teaching assistantship. So if you're doing teaching assistantship, you are employed you're employed by the school based on your graduate study. So the university employ you while you study. So now most times if you're doing teaching assistantship, they will assign a course to you for you to teach. But if you're doing research assistantship, then most times your advisor gives you a research base that you do, and you are being graded based on that. So most times people confuse assistantship with scholarships. Assistantships are not scholarships because for scholarships, you're not expected to do anything to get in there. But assistantship, you must do something for it to continue to flow. And for assistantships, you must meet some certain requirements in terms of your classes for you to be able to continue in that assistantship. So most times, if you're going to Canada, you're going to the US, but then why in your assistantship program, you can get scholarships? That's the difference. Now, for me in the US, I have research assistantship, but then I've gotten series of scholarships alongside while doing my program. So it's important to understand the difference between scholarships and assistantship. And that's why most of us don't get admission, because we're writing our essay based on scholarship and not based on assistantship. Because the US or the Canada or the Australian PI, they want to employ you. They're not giving you scholarship. They want to employ you. And for them to employ you, must show them the reason why they should employ you ahead of the next person. I don't know if I'm making sense to you guys. So you have to make sure that we get some of these things clear, right? When someone is employing you, you must show the person reason why they should employ you, right? So if you're not giving that reason, if you're not giving that that value, then the person will not have reason to employ you. So that's one thing I want us to understand, right? So there's the differences between scholarships, fellowships, bursaries, and assistantship. For fellowships, it's always told towards research and professional development. For scholarship, just based on achievement and eligibility. And then for bursaries, most times it's just based on financial need. And most times it's always given from people of a region, or maybe like to people of a particular region. But then for assistantship, I have to make it clear, you must be offering a value, and you are more like an employee either to the university or to your PI. That's why someone will tell you in the USA, your PI will tell you, I will sack you. from the lab. And when they sack you, that means you've lost your funding. That means you lost the assistantship, and then you now start looking for how to get back again. But if you don't maintain the requirement or the criteria that gave you the assistantship, you can lose it. But scholarship, most times, I'm giving you a 2-year scholarship based on your achievement, based on your eligibility. Okay, you might just be okay, maintain a particular CGPA, then your scholarship will keep coming. But assistantship is that you must satisfy your boss based on your working conditions. So then one thing we have to understand is how do we develop a competitive funding application? Let me not just call it scholarship application now. How do we develop a competitive funding application? Now, one of the biggest things we miss is timing. The time we apply is very important. Now, because most funding applications, let's say, call it assistantship, call it scholarship, call it bursaries, there's always a time lapse. So we say, okay, we are doing our application, we are doing our funding based on rolling applications. What does it mean? That means as the applications are coming in, they are making decisions. And remember, they have a quota of the number of scholarship they want to give. So let's assume this application ends by December, 25th December, and then it started in August. And then I'm waiting to apply by December, maybe December 5th. And they are doing rolling based application. That means if they need 40 applicants, 40 candidates, and from now to November, they've received over, let's say, 50. And amongst that 50, they've seen very highly competitive 40 applicants. What do you think will happen to your application if you apply in November or December? That means it's gone. So timing is very, very important. Also, the timing of the country where you're applying to. You don't reach out to a professor. You don't reach out to a professor outside his or her time zone. Most times your email will get missed. Then another thing that is important is also the materials you are submitting. Now, when I mean by materials, what are materials needed for this application? You have to know some of the requirements needed for your application. Most of you applied for this program. And a lot of persons that were not accepted either because they didn't time it well, either because their materials were not complete, either because their material didn't have enough content, either because what they applied for was not aligning to what they needed to apply to. I don't know if you get what I mean. So these things are more like they align with each other. So now the materials, do they need a CV or do they need a resume? Do they need a letter of purpose, recommendation? How do you have all these things going? Then the next thing is content. Now, content of your material is very important. Now, you are submitting an application that says that is specific to the content they're expecting you to do. Let's say they need 500 words and they are submitting 1,000 words. How do you want them to look at those things? Now, you are submitting a CV that is very vague. We can't see your CGPA if you made first class. We don't even see it there. You are working as maybe something, and then you don't even put your job description very well. Okay, you're submitting a CV for academic purpose, and you're putting your referees available on request. Who will request for it? Who has time to go back to come and requesting your referees from you? Right? You have to make sure that the content of your application, like it's maxing the 100 and above points. Like you have to make sure it's maxing 100. So now, how do you make sure your content is aligning? The first thing you need to do is before you apply for any funding, go and look at the eligibility. Go and look at the materials they're expecting from you. That will help you to know what your content should be, right? So I shouldn't be writing a content based on what I feel. It should be based on the requirements of the committee that is adjudicating my case. Now, the next is now alignment. How do you align your funding application to the content out there? Now, I study mathematics and I see a funding application, a funding opportunity for those who studied engineering or who studied business administration. How can I convince someone that is reviewing that application that my mathematics experience or exposure will land me that application for those who studied business management? See, you have to understand that not all funding call or not all funding application that is open is meant for us. Because most times when you mix some of these things, you tend to become frustrated. Oh, I'm getting rejection email, I'm getting rejection email. Not because you are not good, but because you are applying to things that has no alignment with your purpose. So we have to be very clear with this. And also, how do I align my content? How do I align, even if I'm qualified for this application, how do I align my content to rhyme? You see someone who said, I'm a data scientist. And then if you come to their materials, they are submitting, let's say they are submit of purpose, there is no metrics showing that the person is even like 1 cent aligned to this program. How do you do that? Then I put content here, contact here. Who do you know? Who have you reached out to? Let me tell you the truth. In the United States, where I am, who you know is also very important when also looking at the applications. So for some schools, like for those of us in chemistry, we are so much opportune that we are so much blessed that most of our programs does not require you to reach out to anyone before getting admission. But I know that a ton of schools require to reach out to people. You must get an advisor before you are being accepted. Now imagine you are writing to a professor in the US and you are writing to the person at his, let's say 12 a.m. midnight, which is your own, say maybe 7 p.m. or whatever it is. How do you want that to fly? Now you are on LinkedIn. You are on LinkedIn. How many of us are on LinkedIn? Let's say you are active on LinkedIn. Okay, good. You're on LinkedIn and you don't make like you don't make contact with people. Like you don't associate with people. You don't comment on people's posts. Even when you comment irrelevant things. You just say, "Oh, congratulations." You don't put your impression. See, the word is gone beyond just making applications. You need to get engaged. I don't say you should lose all your time just trying to engage on people's posts. No, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional of what you do. Now, you don't contact a professor with, let's say, you sent me an email and your email says emekasexy at yahoo.com. Like, how do you want me to respond to that email? I don't know if you get like, how do you want me to respond to that email? It's nearly impossible that I will respond to that email. It's nearly impossible that I will respond to that email. So it's very, very important that we understand what we do and how we engage with the community and with the space available to us. It's very important that we do that because you can't be contacting someone and you're putting out things that does not matter to the person or does not even matter to the context of what you're applying to. Then the next thing is composure. How do you compose yourself? How do you compose your materials? We're talking about developing a competitive application, funding application. I've talked about timing, I've talked about materials, the content, alignment, contact. Then how do you compose your materials? Now we're in AI world, and you don't tell me you just go and write something and just put it out there for someone to read. You should have a little bit of composure, right? So I know most of us here must have been exposed to writing statement of purpose before now. So for winning a scholarship, let's say for a graduate assistantship, let me come back to the materials again. Most times you need a statement of purpose, a CV, and all of those things. But how do you make them, how do you synchronize them to become something of purpose? Okay, it's very important. So now, then content and materials required of you for a graduate assistantship, or we call it a grant. Now, I will start with statement of purpose. What is a statement of purpose? How do you write it? Right? So if I'm asking you to give me a statement of purpose, I don't expect you to tell me stories about your life. Like, I want to see why I should hire you. That's what it's telling me. Yeah, it's good to give a background, but let the background not take much of the thing, like become redundancy. I want to see why I should be able to hire you. That's the basic I'm asking of you. So can someone tell me the difference between a personal statement and a statement of purpose? I'm listening, and I'm looking at the chat box too. Please, I'm waiting for you guys to type on the comment section the difference between statement of purpose and personal statement. See, like I told you guys, it's going to be a conversational meeting. Please, I'm waiting for the conversation. What's the difference between statement of purpose and personal statement? Nice one, Chidima. Okay. Yeah, okay. So now that is the what both of you say that is it's very clear, right? Now, the personal statement explain why you are right candidate, right? A personal statement explains why you are the right candidate for a certain program. And then the statement of purpose explains why you want to study a certain subject, right? So now, most times people mix up these things, then they use their personal statements to tell in the statement of purpose, right? Instead of giving, it's like example, it's really focused on the academic goal, research interests, and professional plans. But people try to mix these things up. So whenever a school is asking you for a personal statement, I know that you also want to be very strict to make sure that you are showing them why they want to take you, but try to understand the scope. If you are confused about it, reach out to the graduate coordinator and say, hey, I just want to know, in this personal statement, do you want me to include this and that and that? It's accepted. Ask questions wherever you are confused. Now we come on to CV and resume. Most times people submit a resume instead of a CV. Now a resume is just a brief, it's just like more, it's kind of a summarized CV. A resume is a summarized CV, but then a CV should be detailed enough to show what you've achieved and when you achieved them. Right. So now another thing is recommendation letter. Most times we mix these things because people writing recommendation letters for us are not even qualified. Now that is also where the timing comes to play. And then where the contact I mentioned earlier comes to play. Because you cannot talk about timing and contacts without talking about this. Now, you're talking about recommendation letter. Most of us, since we left university, we don't keep contact with those who supervised us. We have even forgotten about them. But then we'll remember them again when we want something from them. That's a true African mentality. Like an African, most times, once they're done with you, they're done with you. Only when they need something from you again, they will remember you. Let's kill that mentality. Let's kill that mentality. Yeah, I'm so much glad that you guys in the comments are giving me some of the views I need to see about personal statements and statement of purpose. And I'm not in doubt of this because I saw most of your applications and I feel like you guys had the quality, but they just need a little push and then a little just tweak to make things go through. So like I'm not surprised seeing some of those comments. So kudos to you guys. So what do I mean by recommendation letter? You have to ensure that your recommendation letter is coming from a letterhead which has a letter heading and is also signed by whoever is writing it. And you must make sure that the person is sending it with his or her job email, her professional email. Not just sending something with at yahoo.com or at gmail.com. It's not acceptable, but most times it will not get you the credibility you want. So insist that your recommenders use the right template to send in your recommendations. And if you don't have that now, start working on that. Start reaching out to them. Give them time. You don't expect a professor to you just tell them today, hey, I need a recommendation, then tomorrow they should write it. They have a lot of things going on their table. Okay? So let's take our time to make sure that the component of recommendation letter is strictly followed. it must talk about the recommendation letter should talk about your achievements. It should talk, it should be tangible. Not just writing, oh, I've known this guy for 5 years, he's a good guy. Who cares about that? We don't need you to be good to be able to do research. We want you to have credibility, to have integrity, to do research. You don't need to be good to perform well in research. No. All you need is to have what? To have experience, to have knowledge, to have blueprints that we can count on to be able for you to do research. Okay? So your goodness and whatever you are, it's good, it's mentioned, but it doesn't sell more about you. So tell your recommenders what they should write in your recommendation letter. Tell them, oh, that this should highlight my technical skill. You should highlight my experience. You should highlight things I've done in the past. If they don't have it, most times you might need to send your updated CV to your recommender so the person will know where you are at the moment. I don't know if I'm making sense to you guys. So please, these are very important. Then the next thing is writing sample. Most times, some funding will ask you to send a writing sample. And then what I do most times in this place, I'll just send my publication, because a publication is a writing sample. You show that you've written something in the past. And a publication is more preferred because you don't just want to write a story out there. No. If you are sending a writing sample, someone sees a publication that's already published in your name, the person will say, okay, it will tell the person two things. One, this guy has a technical skill. Two, this guy has a research skill. But I see people, when they ask of technical skill, they'll just send in an SOP, or they will send in something, they might send in their same statement of purpose they've sent in before. It doesn't make sense. If you have publications, send it out. That's a very good way to market yourself. Then the next thing is a research statement. Research statement tells us about what you've done and what you're going to do, right? So most people mix it in this place. Like a research statement should be direct. It should command respect. It should command value. Then another thing that can be asked of you is a proposal. For those going to, thinking of Australia, most Australian universities want you to write a research proposal. And I must tell you something, in its entirety, they are not expecting you to write a perfect proposal. No. But they want to see what you can do from what you've already done. And then if a research proposal is not showing the budgeting, it's not showing the plans, it's not showing your possible risk factors, then you've not started yet. Your goal, let me say your research aim should be very clear. It shouldn't be more like, when I see a research aim, I should know what you want to do. It should be achievable, right? And then you're not coming to your specific objectives. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to achieve those aims? This should also be like, it should be specific, and you should also what's it called? You should also be able to tell out some of the techniques you will use for it. Okay, someone who does not have a publication, what other thing can you use as a research sample? Okay, now, if you don't have a publication, that's fine. But I'll always encourage everyone who is wanting to go into graduate school to have a publication. If I might ask, didn't you do a project in your undergrad? If you did a project, then work on getting that project published. If you need help, I'm here to help you guys. Stanley already knows. Though most times I can help more of those who are into sciences, because that's where my base is. So like, I used to have a team of guys I brought together. They help you, teach you how to write research. And I think Edu Africa have something of such too going on. So you can also key into that advantage. So if you don't have a research publication, one thing you can use, most times people use a conference paper. Yeah, a conference paper is good as a research paper. You can use as a writing sample. If you've written even if it's an abstract, that's good. Submit it as a writing sample. That's well accepted. The most important thing I'm trying to put out here is that you are not just giving someone a vibe. Give the person a technical and a research-oriented vibe, because you're applying for a graduate program. And that is the major of the bulk of work they do there. So please, it's very, I see someone say I should talk about more on research sample. Is it research sample? Okay, research proposal. Okay, now let me tell us one quick thing. A research proposal has different components. One, it has what we call a preliminary study. You don't want to tell me, okay, let's say, for instance, you want me to help you establish a project and you have not done something at all relating to that project before. Do you think I would trust you to give you money to go and do that project? No. If you're coming to me, I'm using just a layman principle here. If you're coming to me to say, hey, sir, I am running this project, I'm running this business, and this is what I've been doing, this is how I've been doing it, and this is the progress I've made so far. This is my profit margin, this is what I'm getting out of it. And so I need a support of, say, $5,000 to do this because it will help me to upscale my business. What do you think I will do? And then you give me feedback. Okay, this is a possible risk that we will encounter with this $5,000. And this is the challenges we will face with this $5,000. And this is how we want to mitigate it. What do you think I will do? I will go back and think about it. If it's viable, I will invest. But someone that have not done anything in the past doesn't have any understanding of even what he or she is doing, because the person just went out there to just gather literature review and then come and tell me, okay, I want to do this research. It's nearly impossible because a research proposal is built based on your previous experience, based on your previous knowledge. So in your research proposal, you should have an abstract, you should have an introduction, you should have a preliminary study, what you've already done before in the past, and you should now have a future what's called future prospect of the research, what you now want to continue doing. Let's say, for instance, for me now, I'm doing research in cancer research. I'm doing cancer research, and I've studied a particular protein, and I said this protein is causing this particular thing. Now I want to now go ahead and say, okay, hey, this protein, they've seen that this protein has mutation. I want to now work on these mutations to see how these mutations affect this cancer. I can come this as a proposal and then write it and say, okay, can you give me a funding for me to study this thing? But I won't just come out of the blue. I've not done any research on this particular kind of cancer, and I'm wanting a fund to do that research. It might not work. And remember, a research proposal should have detailed budgeting of the cost you are going to spend. How much will it cost you to do this research? You want to outline what you need to do the research, both the cost implication, right? So most people just assume they don't even know how to arrange cost. But let me give you, for instance, if you're writing a research proposal in the US, you will give the price of the items you want to use. Not just giving the price, you will give the source where those items will be gotten. And you will give the code number of those items so that the person can go and review and say, okay, is this thing all costing what this man is proposing? So, but in Africa, because people just do what they like any day, and they get out of it, and then we think that's not how it works. For a quality research, that's why most of us writing research proposals to Australia are not getting called back, because we're not doing it the right way. Now, what I expect you to do, because at the end of the day, your research proposal might not even be what you work on. Every professor has a research area they are working on. So whenever you join that lab, you are going to work also in that area. But the person asking you to write a research proposal is trying to understand, what are you up to? Like, what can you do? Now, I want you to develop a research proposal based on what you've done in your undergrad. Now, but then don't limit yourself with the experience or knowledge you know now. I want you to go back there and look at what is the current trend in my field, outside my vicinity, outside my region. I don't know if it's making sense to someone. You don't want to, let's say you did phytochemicals in Nigeria. Now, how do you explore phytochemicals in the US? Nobody's doing phytochemical research in the US. But then how do you now bring that phytochemicals into integrating into the kind of research they're doing here? That's where research proposal study comes to play. I don't know if I'm making sense to someone. Also, you have to understand what is the current methodology, what is the current techniques existing in my field of study. Sorry, guys, I'm losing my voice. I have to take a little water. Yeah. Okay. So, and one thing I also tell you guys, never despise your days of little beginning. I see people that say, oh, I cannot publish in this place. That's fair. That's cool. But I can tell that whatever you publish, just be bold of that and then build on that, but then never also settle for the less. Right. So the next thing is budget planning. You need to plan your budget very well. Right. So you don't want to get things mixed up, because once the budget is failed, then that means the project is failed. So you need to make sure that you put in all the cost you need for that proposal. And you also need to budget your scholarship application. How do I pay my scholarship? How do I pay my application fees? How do I make sure my recommenders write a good recommendation letter? You appreciate them. You don't need to give them money, but some little support you give them can also go a long way, right? It could be just to load your phone, to call them on phone. That's a budget. So let's make sure we have all these things going well. Remember, I've talked about statement of purpose and perspective, the difference between both of them. So I'll give us some samples here for us to tell me the something, and I will give us a sample here. So you look at it and tell me what is wrong with it. If you're ready to talk, you unmute yourself and then tell me what is wrong with the sample I'm showing you. So this is one. So I want you all to read this. I'll give you 5 minutes to read this, and then I'll give you another 5 minutes to read the next one I will show you. So yeah, let me know when you are done reading. Let me check my time though. I'll give you 3 minutes. Just take note of what you are reading here. When you are done with that, I'll give you another 3 minutes to read the next one. So I want you to identify the problem with these two documents. Make sure you're active reading what I'm telling you to read, because everyone must make an input, because they said it's more of practical than just me talking and talking. Okay, Wachuku, can you say something? I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Sorry, good evening, sir. Thank you so much. From this, I can see that the person, okay, probably there was no addition of story. You can just feel like it's a generic something. So the person didn't even mention which school they graduated from. The GIS, we don't even know what it is, like a full explanation of it or the actual meaning. We didn't even see, like, I mean, again, it's looking like a generic stuff. I've been
Yeah.
passionate. Everybody's passionate, right, about whatever they're doing. So, me, that's it. Let me leave other people to add their own contribution. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the observation. So I'm still waiting for others to. Okay, yeah, if you raise your hand, just say something. Just unmute yourself and say something.
Okay,
Okay,
good
sir.
evening. Okay, good day, sir.
Okay,
Okay, good evening, sir.
we can hear you. Please.
For me, I'll say that the statement is not specific.
Okay,
The writer wasn't specific enough of the problem he's interested in, the action he took to solve the problem. Same as what
okay,
Favor said, it's generic. So there's no specific action of the project. Like, even if he said he participated in several projects, he needed to have specified one project he did, his individual action to the project, and the results he got from the project. Then even the several programs he learned, he's supposed to be specific of what the program was and how he can use the program. So like
okay.
that's my own
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very good observation. So another person.
Sir. Just like they highlighted, they've already said everything I wanted to say. It's looking just basic. The person did not go in details to tell us, okay, these are my accomplishments. In that, like mention it specifically. If it's to even give numbers, dates of when it was achieved, then what you are bringing to the table, also highlight it. This is what I'm going to do, this is what I plan on helping them achieve, and all that. That's my observation. Thank you, sir.
All right. So let's now read the second one. Then give me your feedbacks. Sorry, guys, if I didn't call you back for the other one. So if you're ready, you can say something.
Good afternoon, everyone. For me,
Yeah.
I think the second essay is more detailed. It spells out more relevant. Like the person is not just is not vague. Number one, it's not generic. The person is going into depth, and also the person is giving out relevant coursework or research experience that's relevant research papers that he or she has contributed in.
Identity center.
Okay.
Can you
Thank
tell me
you.
what is an IAM identity center?
Yeah. The next person who is talking.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
Okay, for me, I think this is far more detailed, and he gave specific examples. All the things we mentioned earlier that was lacking in the first one has been given here. And one thing I also want to highlight, because when we were taught the personal statement, we were asked to make use of the STAR approach. And I think that's what he used in this second paragraph, making use of the situation, he gave us the task at hand or the challenge he had, the action he took, and then what he learned from it. So he gave us the STAR approach in the second one, and it's more detailed. So that's my observation. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So because of time, I'll go to the next one. So now look at these two, and then give me what you feel about both of them. Maybe other people that have not spoken that have not said anything can look at this and say something at this time. If you're ready to talk, you can just say something.
Okay, I would want to also add to this one.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. If you compare the first and the second one is, as we've said before, is generic, is vague. The applicant there is no specific of what he wants to do. So, but if you read the second version, we can see that the applicants already, like the person's plan, the person has an actual plan. The person has a goal that he wants to achieve and is able to specify that goal in line with his research interest and the research question he wants to answer, as in the previous slide that we just looked at. So apart from that, is also, aside from stating what his goals or what his goal is going to be, is also telling us how he's going to be beneficial to the university. In that line, it says, I would bring to the program a foundation in environmental science. So he's telling the university how it's going to benefit the university. And that's something that the first one is lacking.
Okay. Good. Nice observation. Any other person? Okay. So I just brought this up out here so that we can all have a brief view of it, and then this comes into content and alignment, as I mentioned before. This is applicable to everything you're applying for, be it grants, be it fellowship, be it whatever you're applying for. The content of your materials, I think they are more important than than everything you're doing, right? So it's better I have just few things and I'm able to detail them very well than that I don't have anything and then I have everything and they are all mixed up. So you want to make sure that the content of your whatever you are submitting is aligning very well to whatever you want to do. So, and like I said before, you guys did an excellent job in your SOPs and your personal statement, whatever you submitted when you were applying for this program, because as one of the board of directors, I was able to also look through it, and I can tell that you guys did wonderful. But then there's always room for growth and development. So, and I'm not surprised too with the kind of response you all gave here now. But I also want to charge you guys the more that to be frank with you, you are competing against those from China, those from Europe, those from different places who have had the time to do the actual research. So you need to leverage on the little things you've done, find a way to learn more, study more about them, and then make them become substantial. If people like us could come to the US to study, then every one of you can also come to the US to study, or to Australia, whatever you want to go to. And I feel like how you organize yourself and how you put yourself out is very, very important. Now, the first person here in this first slide, he might have had all the experience. He might even have more experience or even more idea than the second person. But the person was not able to nail it down. And the person definitely will lose out on the scholarship. Even the second one here is even a kind of generic, right? So, but it's more detailed than the first one. So let's take all those things into perspective and understand that the content of whatever we're sending out is very, very much important. And just made this little point. I said that a weak SOP tells the committee what you feel and what you want. But a strong SOP shows what you have done, what you have learned, what question you want to investigate, why this program is the right place to do it, and where that training will take you. I'll go again. A weak material tells the committee what you feel and what you want. But a strong material tells the committee what you have done, what you have learned, the question you want to answer or you want to investigate, why the program is important to you and why that place is the right place to do it and where to take you to. So let's have this at the back of our mind that this is very, very important. And the next thing, which might be my last thing, we work on building long-term funding strategy. Now, what do we mean by long-term funding strategy? Remember, I said before that I'm in the US on graduate research assistantship. But that's not where you want to end. You want to do other things that will give you funding to support your program, right? So, how can you do that? That is now where the things you get involved in comes to play. Like since I came to Texas Tech, I have received more than 3 scholarships besides my teaching assistantship. And those scholarship comes to me, and those scholarship does not require me to work to get them. I just get them because of eligibility, right? So, and there are also other ways you can get your funding. Like me now, I'm serving as I'm the current graduate vice president that is overseeing over 7,000 graduate students in Texas Tech University. Now, I knew that if I get into that position, it will help me to secure funds for my studies. So what did I do? Immediately I came into the school, I first went into the Senate. I joined the Senate. When I joined the Senate, I started learning how they do their things and then how can I get to the executive position. So you want to do things that will put you in that position. One of the things you have to do is to make sure you maintain a good CGPA, because that's one of the ways we can build a long-term funding strategy. Because if you don't have good CGPA, you can lose your funding. Then 2, who do I need to know that can help me speak on my behalf to get funding? What kind of research do I need to do? So, you need to find a way to bring down your funding strategy so that you keep getting it renewed every year. Now, is it that you must maintain your status? What are those things you need to do to keep that active? That's what we call by building long-term funding strategy. Like for me now, I have a funding that lasts for 4 years. If I maintain my CGPA above 3.0. But I don't even want to go to 3.5. I don't want to go, I don't want my CGPA to come down to 3.5 because I don't want to hear any stories. So to start working on those parts. Then what do I need to get more scholarships? Okay, for me, I know that if I'm in the US, if you have your green card, if you have your citizenship, your permanent residency, you are open to more funding opportunities. Then immediately you come start working on that. That will open more doors for you. So you have to understand what are the things I need to do that will keep me in good funding cycle. So it varies based on different things. But then if you're talking about grants, for you to keep getting your funds renewal for a grant, they need to keep showing your progress report for that grant. They can't give you money for a grant and then for 1 year, 2 years, you've not done any research, you've not produced any results, and you also want to get funding. They can't keep extending it. The same thing with fellowships. So you have to understand what is tied to the renewal of my funding, then you have to keep maintaining those things. Then what is tied to me getting additional funding, then you have to keep doing those things. So it's a very good thing that you have to know your funding strategy. Now, for those going into graduate school, what is your funding strategy? Remember, you don't have funding yet, but you need a funding strategy. How do you do that? One, now start thinking of, okay, which schools do I apply to? That's your funding strategy. What is the requirement for this school? That's the funding strategy. What is, do I need to write to a professor before I get admission? That's the funding strategy. Do I need to have a first class? Do I need to write, what's it called? West? Do I need West for this admission? That's your funding strategy. So funding strategy is not only when you already have a funding. Those are the things you do before you get the funding. Now, if you are not in good relationship with your recommenders, you have to start talking to them now because that's your funding strategy. Because if you don't have good people that will write recommendation letters for you, then you are nearly not going to get the admission. So, see, your funding strategy is your financial blueprint to getting the funding itself. So invest in them now. These are your preliminary results. These are the things, your relationships with people are the preliminary results. How you build your portfolio is your preliminary results. How you interact with people on LinkedIn is your preliminary result. Not just going there as a Facebook place and then just keep commenting on what you as like commenting on things you feel like you want to comment to. No. Challenge yourself to comment on things. Like imagine you are commenting on a professor's page about, let's say, microscopy every day. You go and read about something and you come and comment about it and then kind of give your own insight about it. Imagine if that man has funding tomorrow in his lab and you apply and you reach out to him and say, hey, good afternoon, sir. I've been in connection with you in LinkedIn and I found your research very interesting as we comment as we. How do you think the person will react to your to your email? That's contact. That's communication. It's very important. So let's not play with funding strategies. I don't know if you guys have any question. So I'll be here now to okay, let me go back to our outline to be sure we covered everything. So we were supposed to talk about identifying fully funded scholarship worldwide, then to give between scholarship, fellowship, and bursary, then competitive scholarship application. Okay, now I didn't talk about searching for effective research and teaching assistantship opportunities. Okay, now for this particular one, it's very important and it's very clear. And you can always get this through different places. Now I'll give us some hints. Now for the US, if you want to get teaching assistantship and research, then you have to go through the website of the schools. They advertise in those places. And for those schools, you can just search for R01 and R02 universities. For you, I'm talking about US specifically. If you search for R1 and R02 universities, you will see a list of schools that offer research. They call it research-based universities. So you see a list of schools that offer those things. So, and why it's very important that you go through that route, because that will help you to filter out the schools that might be that might not really have much funding for you. And you can also use LinkedIn. They advertise a lot of research assistantship on LinkedIn. So just go to LinkedIn, search for keyword research assistantship, teaching assistantship. You see a lot of things pop up. So So that's where you can get some of those things. And then also you can also search for specific country scholarship page. Like I know the Sweden have what they call the Swedish Institute scholarships. You can look out for that, how it works. The same thing goes to Australia and Canada. So teaching assistantship and research assistantship, they are like paid position given to you when a university employs you to come work for them or work with them. So I think I'm able, that should have been able to address that issue of research assistantship and teaching assistantship. So you guys can ask your general questions. You can ask me general questions. You can ask questions based on things we've already talked about now, and I'll be glad to respond to your questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Prince, thank you so much for Alphonsus. Is it Alphonsus or Theophilus?
Yeah, Theophilus.
Yeah. Theophilus is raising his hand.
Yeah, he can ask his question.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so my question is that for scholarships that usually require like very short wording for your personal statement, or for your personal statement, like 250 word, like how do you make sure that you are not being generic and you really write what is captivating to the reviewer?
Okay. Now the first question is, what do you think the person wants to hear? That's the first question you ask yourself. Now, at that point, ask yourself, does my personal history matter to this person? It depends also on what you're applying for. If it's, let's say, graduate program admissions, right? Bro, we don't need much of your personal history. At that point, it becomes irrelevant. One line should be enough to take care of that. One line should be enough to take care of that. So you should go more of your technical skills, what you've achieved, and what you tend to achieve more. I shouldn't start telling the person, over the years ago, my father died of cancer, and that motivated me to go and study biochemistry and want to know about cancer. Those are too long protocols. What have you done regarding to cancer? What do you know about cancer? What instrumentations do you know? This is where you kill it. Let the person know, because everyone, if you now have publications, you sell yourself there. I've written essays that are like just less than 500. In fact, I wrote one scholarship essay that was just 250 character, not words. 250 character. Because they want to know how you are able to comport yourself. That's where the content comes to play. And that's where the composure comes to play. So if you have such constraints, focus on your strengths, your technical skill, your research skill, and then your outputs, and then what you tend to do more. I don't know if I answered your question, Theophilus.
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, so someone asked, okay, let's see Raphael raise her hand before the questions on the comment section. Can you ask a question, Raphael?
Yes, please. Good evening, everyone. And Mr. Prince, thank you very much for today's session. It's quite an opener and very insightful. So, going straight to my question, I want to ask about the recommendation letters. So, assuming I'm applying for graduate school within a particular month, and I write to maybe 2 or 3 of my former professors for recommendation letters, and the school is asking that we should provide 2 recommendations. But within that 1 month, one person uh, was not able to attend to me on time, and that it has affected me. The subsequent year, if I'm applying, is it okay for me to normally take the recommendations letters down before the application year or the application time? Can I take recommendation letters from my professors 3 months,
Yeah, I get your
2 months
question.
before the time?
There's a caveat to that. for the US, most times they don't expect you to upload your recommendation letter. They want your recommenders to submit it themselves directly. So that will not work in this context. But one of the ways to circumvent this kind of issue is, that's why I talked before about contact. For me, when I was applying to universities for graduate studies, I had more than 7 recommenders standing by. So whenever one person is delaying, I'll just tell the next person, say, are you available? I'll just request a recommendation to be sent to the person. The person will write it immediately and send to you. So that's where you build that contact, because these guys, they are busy, they are very busy. We understand. But I also understand that some of them are just also lackadaisical with their work ethics. So what you need to do to save yourself from that stress is have more than, at least if they need to, at least reach out to at least 3 or 4. When it's 1 month to the time and the person have not submitted it, go and add a new person to request a recommendation letter in your application. If the school does not allow you to do that, write to the school and say, hey, I want to make an edit in my application. I want to request someone else to write a recommendation letter for me. They will do it. They will allow you to do that. So that way you won't be in that kind of situation. Because if you collect recommendation letters and keep, what if the school does not allow you to upload it by yourself? What do you do? It becomes invalid. I don't know if that answers your questions.
Yes, that is quite helpful. But then, so does it mean most of the time the schools will want these things to get to them, the contact persons to comment to them directly?
Yes, 90% of US schools will send the link to your recommend and ask them to submit the recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So I saw a question here that says, I usually wait for scholarships to study abroad, not research. Opportunities when they are sent on scholarship group. What do you think? That's the worst thing you can do for yourself. Whenever you see a scholarship adverts or whatever, study abroad being posted in any group, just know that more than 1 million persons have already seen it. And you are putting yourself up in a very tight competition. So that's why I advise people what you do. Like now, if you want to come to the US, just go and search for R1, R2 universities. Now, when you do that, now go and start looking for your respective program where you want to apply to. Then go and look for the professors in that, like they call them faculty. Look for the faculty in that program. When you see them, then reach out to them individually with what we call a code mail. And your code mail should be simple and short, carrying the specific information the person wants to hear or see. That way you circumvent yourself from the stress of, because most times, and then getting scholarship in masters in digital design and innovation of software most times can be very difficult because these are very competitive courses, and then most times most schools don't want to give full scholarships for them. So, but if you are good in, let's say, programming and all of those things, you can come into a different program that is related and then find your way into where you want to be. So that's my own counsel. Like I never waited on never wait on scholarships being posted on groups for you to apply. Some can get lucky and get through it, but most times the competition is always very high. And then remember, when it got to you, might not be when must have been shared before. Now maybe that's where timing also comes to play. Maybe it's posted in Edo Africa today, but before it came to Edo Africa, maybe it had been outside for me like maybe 3 months. That means people that saw it 3 months ago, like imagine if they're doing rolling basis of application, that means they must have taken people even though you are more qualified. So timing is also very important to that. So someone said, are there online fully funded scholarships? You mean to study online or to get scholarship online?
Who asked that question?
Sir, I mean to study online, sir.
Yes, you can get, there's some online programs that have scholarship, but I don't know if you get fully funded scholarships. But I know some online programs have followers. But then that's where you have to like, remember I said, okay, these keywords you can search in a university website, assistantship, funding. So whenever you go to that department website, you can search for these things. You will see some of whatever, because most departments have some of these things they can give, but people don't know about them. So if you're applying to the school, you can even reach out to the program director and say, hey, do you guys have opportunity for funding in your school? I know, yeah, you say you don't want to do research, but I'm sorry to say that most times, most fundings come based on research. Most funding come
Okay.
based on research because even if one taking you for a master's program, you still do research for them or for him or her. So if you just want to do only study, then I would advise you to go to the UK because UK have masters by just only masters, only taught masters by class or something by coursework. But if you're looking at Australia, US, Canada, most times you get more of research and they get more of research funded.
All
More
right.
questions, guys?
Do we still have more time for questions? Mm, I think you've actually addressed all the questions in the chat box.
Yeah, I think I'm done for the
Um,
chat.
so Theophilus, are you still raising your hand, or is this on a new hand or the old hand? Theophilus,
The old one, I forgot to look.
okay, raise it down now so that we know.
All right,
Um,
guys. So if we don't have any other question, can I know what's your you guys thought process for what we just discussed? And do you think you got something new? And do you think there's something that needs improvement from your end? And if you didn't think there's something, then when do you think you can start that improvement for your own self? Because this is a currency. If you don't vibe with it, it loses value.
hmm. um,
Yeah, Chidema raised her hand.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, what I got from this session we had is how to have a long-term funding plan. So it's not just about getting the funding now. It's about how to ensure you keep on getting funding, like call it sustainability of funding. So that's like I already had some knowledge about scholarship, but this one really, it's really stuck with me. So that's one thing I got.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to understand that funding plan is not just only when you're already in school, even before you start the program, even before you even start application. Those are part of funding plans.
Okay,
I
sir.
think okay. Chidema, you should be the last person so that we do the last part and go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, for me, I actually learned a lot from this class. Before, I used to categorize scholarship as everything, like assistantship, finance, everything that comes with uh, financial assistance. I used to classify them as scholarship. But from this class, I've been able to understand that scholarships, that they are different from fellowship, from bursaries, from assistantship, and what it requires for you to get each of these fundings. So I really learned a lot. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, so thank you guys for having me. I will leave you guys to Stanley so that he can continue the next phase of what he wants to do. But just know that I'm always, I'm always, I'm always here for your support, for your guide. Stanley has like I'm always on the. No, Stanley, are they in the group chat now?
Yeah, they're in the group chats.
Yeah,
They're in the group chat.
so I'm there. You might not see me commenting, and even if you see me commenting, it will not come as Prince. It might come as a different name altogether. So, but just know that I'm there. We're there to support you guys through this process, and we've recorded big success with other persons who committed to doing this thing. But it's very unfortunate for my Nigerian friends that you're not able to come to the US this time around. So, I'm so sorry
We
for
are
that.
sorry.
But for my Ghanaian friends and other people, please utilize the opportunity now that they're giving you guys to shine over us and enjoy. So, like I said, we're always there to support you guys. So drop your questions. And if you have your BSc work and you have not published it, um, probably reach out in the comment in the group chat. We'll find a way to get you going on that because it's very important. But that's one of the things that will help you um do that. Thank you very much.
One of our Ghanaian mentees, he just arrived US yesterday. Day before yesterday. So unfortunately, others are not able to come. The guy was one of the winners of our last year's essay competition. So, and he's now in the US. And other people who are still, but well, just because he's a Ghanaian, that's why he's able to. And he got a 4 years visa, F1 visa. So, all right, thank you so much, Prince. You've really dealt with this topic. I think we are also recycling you again next week. So, Prince will still take us again next weekend on Sunday, probably at the same time as we
Really?
did today. Yeah. You.
Okay. We'll find a way to figure it out because I'm traveling next week, but we'll find a way around it. If we cannot do it within the week, please, guys, if I plead you guys to come on Monday, please, guys.
Okay, no problem. We'll see what we can do about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you are still taking the next topic anyway, so we'll find a way around it.
yeah, that's good.
So we're going to divide ourselves into three groups now. For the assignments, we'll have group A, group B, and group C. And in this, how many are we in this class? Okay, minus myself and Prince, we are 18. So, okay, and then minus, I think I got somebody who have not been, just some guy I wanted him to, gain some knowledge from what we did today. Um, Stephen also. Stephen, Stephen is raising his hand. Okay, so Stephen, do you want to say anything? Okay, so we will have three groups. We'll divide you guys into three groups. So that assignment we are going to give you guys today is, like I said, your mid-semester assignment. Um, is we want to check your performance level. How have you guys learned what we've taught you guys since we started till today? And that assignment is not like a usual assignment, like just write and it's more of a case study. It's a case study assignment. I think I will have to explain it a little bit first before I divide you guys into groups. Let me just share my screen and show you guys the assignment. So here you are. So we are gonna have you guys in three groups. Each group will be given a different applicant's profile. So it's gonna be like a fictional, like I said, it's gonna be a case study assignment. It's a fictional candidate applying to graduate school. Like we are giving you guys a case of a student applying to graduate school. And your task is to build an application package for that person. So, and then we want you to apply everything you've learned from week 1 to week 6. So, now for group 1, your case study is this. Your candidate is a final year student, either art or social science, undergraduate, who's with a very strong grade, but almost no research experience, no leadership position, no publications. So she's applying for a funded master's in public policy. Now, your job is to build a compelling application despite the thin experience on the paper. Like, this person doesn't have any experience, doesn't have leadership experience. So you're to build a kind of application that will make him to be competitive. So it's a scenario. That is what group 1 will do. Now, group 2, your candidate is a STEM graduate with genuinely strong lab and research experience, but weak, generic sounding CV, no LinkedIn presence. The person is not on LinkedIn. The person doesn't have a strong CV. The person's application materials are currently underselling him badly. Right? He has a very bad application. He cannot sell himself. And he's applying for a fully funded PhD. Your job is to translate his real experience into material that actually reflects his strengths. Now, this person doesn't have any any prior this, but he's applying. How do you make this person to be strong? Then group 3, your candidate is a working professional with 5 years of post-study degree work experience, solid on-the-job accomplishment, but rusty academic writing and no clear idea how to connect past work experience to academic or research fit. So she's applying for a fully funded master's abroad. And your job is to reposition her professional background as a genuine academic asset. I know we've taught you guys about how you can put together all you have to, even though it doesn't look attractive, but just find a way, package yourself. I always tell people that some of these things are all about packaging. Package yourself. Now, what every group must produce. Number 1, you need to produce an academic profile audit, a clear, honest audit of your candidate's strengths, weaknesses, and gaps based on their profile. Number 2, a 12-month application timeline. So you have to have a realistic timeline that is showing how that candidate should sequence their application activities. Another one is that you need to write a full statement of purpose between 800 to 1,000 words, specifically for your candidate's profile and program, following everything that we have actually taught you guys on SOP, structure, and content. Also, write a personal statement that's that is different from SOP. Remember that these are different documents with different purposes. Do not submit you don't need to submit 2 versions of the same essay. So then another one is you have to do the CV and a 1-page professional resume. Guys, prepare that person. So what we are trying to say, this person doesn't have any experience, but you need to. We want you to apply the knowledge you've learned. We want you to apply the knowledge of what you've learned here in order to make this person to look good, even though it doesn't look good. Then also, the person doesn't have a LinkedIn profile. So a LinkedIn that specifically strengthens the candidate's visibility. So what do you recommend that should be on the person's LinkedIn and all that? So it's what you're supposed to do. So figure it out how you do it. So we will send you guys this document. This document is what we guide you guys in the assignment. So I'm going to share you guys into 3 groups. Group A, B, C. Who is the class rep for this class?
It's Chidima. Yeah.
Okay, you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm sharing you guys. Okay, so you, that's the class rep.
Can I suggest something?
Yeah.
Would you mind having them just tell them how many you want them to be per group so they can choose who they are able to work more closely with or something, so that when they choose, you now give them a number and say, okay, this is A, B, and C. Then one person from each group will not choose, so that they will not select any group they fall into, they work on that.
Okay. Yeah.
So just give them a deadline when you want them to get back to you on when they are, like, it shouldn't pass maybe 5 p.m. or 1 p.m. today for the groups to be clear. They will not come to you. Then you not tell them, okay, either you write an envelope or something. Like, I don't know how we do the so that people don't select. Maybe I want to select an art student or a science student who is going to be easy for me to work on. No, you just want them to select blindly. Or you do a pool, maybe like cover something. When they open it, any number that opens becomes what they choose.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yes, that's a good idea of how we can do this. Okay, in that case, class rep.
Sir.
Yeah, can you organize that with them? Let everybody choose the person that. But one thing is, do you guys know each other?
That's a constraint, yeah.
That's another challenge. So somebody may not know.
They don't have a WhatsApp group where they're working, where they are operating from.
Yeah, they have a WhatsApp group, but
that's fine.
I don't think they know each other from that WhatsApp group, because that WhatsApp group, do you guys know each other in that WhatsApp group? Can I
Some know
hear you?
themselves, but not everybody. I
So
know
it's gonna
few,
be
but I don't know everybody.
so it's gonna be a little bit difficult for us to do that. I think the only way
Then
what we can do now is maybe just randomly say this
well,
person, this person, this person in this group, this person,
yeah,
just
that
randomly.
works too. That works too.
So let's do Chidema Chikwendo at group 1. Adeze. So Chidema, you have to be writing down this. I don't have my pen. So put
Yes,
Chidema Chikwendo in group A.
okay.
Adeze Ashibo, group B. Aswanya Geneka, group C. Have you written that?
Yes,
I
sir.
start. Then Chidema Umennade, group A. Dan Sumata Martin, group B. Favor Daniels, group C. Have you written that?
Yes, sir.
Then Favor Wachuku, group A. Grace Adedokun, group B. And then Grace Sanusi, group C. Written.
Yes, sir.
All right. Innocent Paul Irume, group A. Cassie Okapu, group B. And then Latsi Raphael, group C.
So it's a group B is who?
Cassie Okapu,
That's it. Okay.
Cassie. Then group C is Latsi Raphael. Then
Okay.
group A, yeah, have you taken that down? Group
Yes,
A,
sir.
group A again, Okeke Chioma Joan. Group B, Okorie Mercy Chinecherem. Then group C, Olajumoke Dorcas. Then, have you taken that down?
Yes, sir.
Group A again, Ololade Elizabeth Nathaniel. Group B, Gumma Okorie. Then group C, Omo, let me just say Omo, I don't know how to pronounce this, so Arama,
Umu
Arama,
Cairo. Okay.
yeah, Umu Karia Arama, something like that.
Yes, sir. It's Umul Khaira.
Okay, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's good that you
Yes.
pronounce it from your.
But you can just call me Arama.
Okay, that's fine. So I didn't put Steven in any group. Steven is just somebody that I wanted him to, learn from. But yeah, I just wanted him to learn from today's class. So I didn't put him in any group. So he's not under any this. But I will speak with him later to know if he wants to join any of the groups, because it will be also good for him to learn from the group assignment. All right. So I think that is that. So after this class, I will send this document to the group chat for you guys to start working on it. We gave you guys 3 days to submit the assignment. We know that 3 days may not be enough. So we are extending it by extra 3 days. So it's going to be the next 1 week. We're expecting you guys to submit by Saturday next week. So the link for you to submit will be created. Pascal will post the link very soon. Pascal is creating the Google link. Elizabeth, you're raising your hand. We need to be fast because our next class is their time is about to, we're about to get to the next class.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, sir, for the voice. I'm having cold. but I missed the research class yesterday. I was the one that sent you notice about my absence this weekend. So
Eh?
I missed research. I was the one that sent you notice about my absence the last weekend. So I missed the research class yesterday. I want to know how I can be grouped to a group. Or did I
You're
just
supposed
get
to be you're not
it?
in the you're not in the class yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I think you can ask class rep that is because she told me that one of you, I think you are Elizabeth, right? So
Yes.
she told me that he took an excuse. So I think we put you in in a class. I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So yeah, so ask class rep about the class. I can't remember the particular group we put you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Who again? Chidema Umennadi.
Okay.
Chidema Umennadi.
Okay, so my question is with regards to the assignment you gave us.
Mm-hmm.
You said that we need to produce a statement of purpose and a personal statement. Are they
Mm-hmm.
going to be different stories? Like,
Yes, you know that the second one is talking about another person. It's talking about somebody who this is just a scenario of somebody who doesn't have experience. So it's the same person, but with different background. This other person doesn't have. So it's the same person with different background. So you have to produce a document, not a different document altogether, but a story that can, make that person to be fit to apply for a scholarship.
so my question is, let me say
Mhm.
I'm in group C. Okay,
Mhm.
for group A, that the person has a good CGP but does not have any experience. I'm going to
Mhm.
produce a statement of purpose for that person after I've like upgraded the person, and also a personal statement. So it's still the same person,
Yes,
but
exactly.
the format of writing will change.
Exactly.
Okay,
You get the point. So it's the same person, but you're writing statement of purpose for the same person and also writing a personal statement for the same person. So you have to figure out because I think we taught you guys the difference between what did not I'm not supposed to tell you all of this, but okay, let me just say that what we want to test your knowledge on how to write SOP and PS. Okay, Kechioma.
Okay, good
Okay,
evening,
Kechioma.
everybody.
Yeah.
Good evening. Two people from AI class, they said Iwa Emmanuel is not feeling fine. And Ololade Elizabeth, she said she will be unavoidably absent today.
When we get to AI class, we talk about that. We are still in the graduate school class.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other thing? Let me end this class now so that because it is still the same Zoom link that we're going to use to.
Okay. Sir, I have a
to
question, please.
yeah.
For some of us that we are in research class and graduate preparation class and AI class, and we still have like our normal 8 to 4, be 5 o'clock job, and the
You're
duration
in
of
trouble.
the
You're in trouble.
that's I don't know if the submission time can be extended for
You're in
us.
trouble. That's it. This tells you what we pass through here. In a semester, you are doing like 3 to 4 courses, and they're giving you assignments in all of them. And you're still going to do your graduate assistantship work, and you're still going to do your personal business. You're still going to, so figure it out. We are giving you guys, well, that is what we are facing here. And most times when some of you try to reach out to us and we are unable to reply you guys, we think that we are like kind of trying to ignore you guys, but it's not like that. Most times you have a lot of deadlines, and the assignment that they give you here in America, when they give you one course is like 15. One course that is 3 units is like a 15-unit course because it has a lot of and our assignment here is weekly, not even so for 16 weeks we'll be doing assignments every week in all the classes that you're doing. So we are preparing your mind for that. For those of you that want to travel abroad. So start practicing now. It will help you. Okay. Let me end this class so that the recording for this class will not join, because I think the AI people, we are almost encroaching into their time. Their time is supposed to be 7:30, and we are 7:21 now. So I want to end this class so that our recording from this class will be different from the other one. And then once I end it, I will put it on again for people of AI to start joining. Thank you guys, and may God bless you. See you guys next week.
All right, so bye.
Yeah.